They were inseparable, two friends against the world, until one man entered their lives and nothing was ever the same. In the busy city of Owerri, yellow buses honked loudly on Douglas Road, keke drivers called out for passengers, and women selling roasted corn shouted prices with voices that carried above the noise. And somewhere, not too far from the bustle, in a modest but lively two-bedroom flat, two young women sat in their small living room, laughing as though they had no worries in the world. They were Clara and Princess. They had known each other since they were children. Their families used to attend the same church back in their village, and from the very first Sunday they met, they stuck together. People used to tease them, calling them twins from different mothers. Although Clara was 27 years old and Princess was 26, they were still inseparable. Life had brought them to Owerri, where they were chasing dreams the way so many young people did, one eye on survival, the other eye on the future they prayed for. Clara was the more social one, bold, outspoken, and always the center of attention wherever she went. She was tall, slim, and beautiful in a way that made people turn their heads when she walked into a room. Princess, on the other hand, was quieter. She was pretty too, with soft features and calm eyes, but she preferred to stay in the background. Where Clara would raise her voice, Princess would whisper. Where Edith would run into a crowd, Princess would stay back, watching and smiling.
That morning, Clara was sitting on the small sofa, scrolling through her phone. She laughed suddenly and shouted, "Princess, come and see this nonsense." Princess, who was washing plates in the corner kitchen that opened into the living room, wiped her hands on a towel and walked over. Clara gave her the phone to see what she was watching. It was a funny skit on Instagram, one of those comedy clips everyone in Owerri seemed to be talking about. Princess laughed softly, shaking her head. "You, Clara, if Instagram was food, you would have been fat by now." Clara rolled her eyes dramatically. "Abeg, leave me. Is it not better than thinking too much about life? You know this Owerri rent alone can give somebody high blood pressure." They both laughed, but there was truth in Clara's words. The two friends lived simply, surviving from Clara's job as a boutique attendant and Princess's work as a school teacher. They shared almost everything, clothes, food, even shoes. They sometimes argued, but their fights never lasted more than a day. Later that afternoon, Clara suddenly jumped up from the sofa, her eyes shining. "Princess, I met someone last week." Princess looked up from the book she was marking. "Someone like who?" Clara smiled mischievously. "A man, of course, a very fine man. His name is Daniel. He came to the boutique to buy clothes, and we connected, and guess what? He has not stopped calling me since that day." Princess looked at her surprised. Clara met plenty of men. Her phone was always buzzing with messages and calls. But there was something different about the way she was talking about this Daniel. Her eyes were glowing, her smile was wider than usual.
Princess said cautiously. "And what exactly does he do?" "He works in the oil company and lives here in Owerri. He is so well-spoken, you need to hear his voice. Handsome, and guess what? He said he's looking for a serious relationship." Clara clapped her hands in excitement, then danced like a child in the middle of the room. Princess smiled but didn't say much. She had always been careful, the kind of person who studied people before trusting them. Clara, on the other hand, had a heart that jumped quickly into things. "Be careful, oh," Princess finally said. "You just met him. I know you well. Don't start carrying your heart like gala on the street." Clara hissed. "You are too suspicious, Princess. Not every man is bad. Some men are nice and serious. This one, I feel it in my spirit. He might be the one." Princess said nothing more, but deep inside she prayed her friend was right. Clara deserved happiness after all she had been through. The days passed, and Daniel became a constant name in their apartment. Clara would rush home after work, smiling and giggling like a teenager, telling Princess about the phone calls, the jokes, the gifts from Daniel. She even started cooking more often, experimenting with new recipes, claiming Daniel liked this or that. One evening, Clara invited him over. Princess was happy but nervous. She wasn't the kind of person to invite people into their home. Yet, she cleaned the house twice, made sure everything was in place, and even changed into a cleaner dress before a knock finally came. When Daniel walked in, Princess felt the air shift. He was tall, dark-skinned, handsome, and carried himself with quiet confidence. His smile was warm, and his voice was calm, almost soothing. He greeted politely,
shaking Princess's hand with firm gentleness. "So you are Princess," he said. "Clara has told me so much about you. I almost feel like I know you already. She's always talking about her sister, Princess." Princess smiled shyly, unsure of what to say. She noticed the way Daniel's eyes lingered on her a second longer than necessary, but she brushed it off quickly. He was meeting her for the first time after all. The evening went smoothly. They ate jollof rice, laughed over small jokes, and played music. Daniel seemed genuinely interested in both women, but the way he looked at Clara was different, softer, more affectionate. Princess relaxed, grateful her earlier unease had been just her imagination. That night, after Daniel left, Clara lay in bed hugging her pillow, whispering to herself, "This one is serious. I can feel it. I think this is the man I will marry." Princess smiled in the dark, but said nothing. Weeks turned into months, and Clara's relationship with Daniel blossomed. He was attentive, caring, and always present. He brought gifts, took her out, and even started helping with bills in their apartment. Princess couldn't deny it. Daniel was a good man and was obviously serious with Clara.
But once in a while, she caught Daniel watching her, with a quiet, unreadable look in his eyes. She would quickly look away, pretending not to notice. Those moments unsettled her, but she told herself it was nothing. Life continued, and Clara and Princess worked, gossiped, laughed, and dreamed. Clara was glowing more each day, happier than she had been in years. And Princess, though secretly worried about how fast and quick Clara fell in love, she supported her friend as best she could. It was one quiet evening, as the rain poured heavily outside, that Clara dropped the biggest news. She and Daniel were getting married. Princess froze, the spoon in her hand clattering onto the plate. "Married?" she gasped. Clara's eyes shone with joy. "Yes, he proposed yesterday. I wanted to wait and tell you properly. Princess, I am getting married. Finally. I told you he was the one." She hugged Princess, laughing like a child. Princess hugged her back tightly, tears of joy in her eyes. She was happy, truly happy for her friend. But somewhere deep in her chest, she felt something she could not name. That night, she lay awake, listening to the rain. In her heart, a question kept whispering. Why did it seem like Daniel was not as in love with Clara as she was with him? As the city of Owerri was glowing under the evening lights, Clara's heart was glowing too. Ever since Daniel proposed, she moved about with a new kind of joy. She hummed while cooking, she laughed louder at small jokes, and she often sat on the balcony of their flat with her phone pressed to her ear as she talked to Daniel, smiling as if the world belonged to her. Princess watched her with quiet affection. She knew Clara had suffered in the past, losing her mother early and struggling to find someone who truly cared. Daniel seemed like a blessing, and Princess prayed it was real. Still, in the quiet corners of her mind, that uneasy whisper remained. Why did Daniel sometimes look at her in that strange way? But Clara saw none of that. For her, Daniel was perfect. He called her my sunshine, and when they walked through Douglas Road together, people turned to admire the beautiful couple. Daniel showered her with small surprises, perfumes, handbags, and even money for the apartment's rent. Princess couldn't deny the relief of having less financial stress. One Sunday afternoon, Daniel came over. He brought cartons of malt, meat pies, and a new dress for Clara. She screamed in delight, throwing herself into his arms. "Babe, you will spoil me," oh, she laughed. "Sunshine, that's my job. If I don't spoil you, then who would I spoil?" he replied, smiling. He looked at her for a few seconds before shifting his gaze, just briefly, toward Princess, who was arranging plates on the dining table. Princess caught the look and quickly bent her head, pretending to focus on the plates. They sat together, the three of them, planning the wedding. Clara was full of ideas. She wanted a white and gold theme, a church service, and a big reception at one of Owerri's popular halls. Daniel nodded through high excitement, agreeing to most things. Princess helped too, making lists, checking costs, and reminding Clara to stay realistic. Sometimes, when Clara got carried away with her dream wedding plans, Princess would smile and say, "Remember, we are not Nepo babies, oh." Clara would laugh, wave her hand and reply, "Leave me, this Lapo baby would have her dream wedding." They all laughed and continued with the planning. Days turned into weeks and preparations grew intense. Family members started calling, friends offered help, and Clara's joy overflowed. She often hugged Princess, whispering, "You will be my maid of honor and assistant bride. Nobody else can stand beside me on that day." Princess nodded, smiling outwardly but battling a storm inside. The closer the wedding day came, the stronger Daniel's subtle gestures became. His hand brushing Princess's hand by mistake, he would stare at her when Clara wasn't watching, the softness in his tone when he spoke directly to her. Princess avoided him as much as she could, but it was becoming harder. One evening, Clara stepped into the bedroom to take a call, leaving Princess and Daniel alone in the sitting room. The silence was heavy. Princess pretended to scroll through her phone. Then Daniel spoke softly, almost like a whisper. "Princess, do you know I admire you?" Princess froze. She turned slowly, searching his face, hoping it was a bad joke. But his eyes were steady, filled with a strange intensity. Her heart pounded. She stood immediately. "Daniel, don't ever say that again. Clara is my sister. She loves you. Respect her and respect me too." Just then, Clara's laughter floated from the bedroom just then, breaking the tension. Daniel smiled faintly, as if nothing had happened, but Princess's hands trembled as she picked up her phone.
From that night, she knew the wedding ahead would not be as simple as Clara imagined. Something dangerous was stirring beneath the surface. The wedding was fast approaching. The choice she made next would change all three of their lives forever. Would she tell Clara the truth, or stay silent and watch her best friend marry a man who loved someone else? To be continued in part 2.